What is going on, everybody? Welcome back into TTP Sports, getting back into some Flyers action here. They lose the past couple of games, especially they lose tonight in a very hard-fought contest against a team that completely outclasses them in the Carolina Hurricanes. You know the talent discrepancy between these two teams. Carolina wins 3-2, late goal by Toivo Teravainen, and, the Flyers were not able to get any sustained pressure in those final, few minutes to pull Carter Hart in order to get the extra attacker out there. Carolina just played extreme keep away in the Flyers zone, so they end up losing in this one. But I do think there is a lot of positives to take away from this game. You know, the puck luck in the past couple of games has not gone the Flyers' way, especially in that Saturday loss against the Anaheim Ducks, where they put 7 goals on you. Sam Ersson didn't play his best game, and, he did put 4 goals onto the board, but, every time you got back into that contest, Anaheim would always have a goal to respond eventually, so you just weren't able to get that save from your goaltender. Carter Hart today starting in net, his 200th career game in the NHL, and he was fantastic. He made a lot of saves, especially in key situations where the Flyers did have a lot of turnovers. Just sadly, that final goal that he did allow, even though it wasn't his fault whatsoever, Noah Cates with a terrible chance or with a terrible attempt to clear the puck when he had all the space and time in the world. The puck gets knocked down from his stick on the clearing attempt, and Carolina keeps it in, and then eventually they thread the needle between the legs of Joel Farabee, and Teravainen just blasted past Carter Hart. He had no chance at that whatsoever to stop that puck, but he also had some brilliant saves on a lot of failed clear attempts, especially when one of the Carolina defensemen, after Brett Burns keeps the puck in on another failed cleared attempt, one of their players, completely splits open the Flyers defense, and Carter Hart made a fantastic toe save to somehow keep the puck out of the net. And that third period was very entertaining. It was a lot of back and forth hockey, both goaltenders making a lot of 10-bell saves. Seriously, there were so many chances for the Flyers where I'm saying to myself, how the hell did the puck stay out of the net? How the hell did Owen Tippett not bury some of those chances? Morgan Frost, Travis Konechny, Cam Atkinson. How are these guys not able to bury their chances? Tyson Forrester getting a couple of chances too, and he continues to be snake bitten. He's getting some great passes along from Morgan Frost on a power play. He just can't, he gets robbed by Anderson in net. So third period was just absolutely fantastic, entertaining hockey where the goaltenders were just standing on their head, and Carolina was just able to get the last laugh late in that third period. But you're going through that first period, you can definitely tell that there is a gap between the Flyers and the Hurricanes. No doubt that was the most obvious thing going into this game. You just wanted to see how the Flyers can handle up to the Carolina Hurricanes, because they've shown in the first so many games this year that they can play up the teams like the Vegas Golden Knights and hold them on, battle into the game until the very end, until they did lose that game. They find a way to come back against a very good Dallas Stars team and lose in overtime, scoring a couple of shorthanded goals along the way. So they've been, playing good against good competition, and I think this was one of those situations today. Another turnover, that results in the first goal of the game for the Hurricanes. They make it 1-0 early. Just turnovers galore. Carter Hart had absolutely no chance. With the quick passing, he has to go side to side, post to post, and he just left his 5-hole a little bit open on the going to the other side of his post. And that results in the first goal of the game. And there definitely was some situations in this first period where Carolina was just completely in control of possession of the puck. The Flyers had a lot of trouble getting it through the neutral zone. Carolina was clogging everything up. But later on through this first period, you get a nice push from the first line. Sean Couturier makes a brilliant pass on Carolina's blue line, and Owen Tippett, it springs him, and then he just goes to the net, throws a little bit of a changeup past Frederik Andersen, top shelf, and he ties the game up at 1 apiece, and the Flyers start to get their legs back a little bit here. Owen Tippett, for not scoring in the first so many games, he has 2 goals in his last 3 games, so, maybe the floodgates start to open for him a little bit, and especially now that he's getting a lot more ice time with guys like Sean Couturier, so that's definitely going to help him out a lot. So it's nice to see Owen Tippett get back on the board, and he definitely needs it too. He had a lot of chances in this game, especially in that third period, to bury some chances. Cam Atkinson battling in front of the net, and he's just, the puck just ends up wide open in the slot, and he just can't bury it. You're just like, oh my God, you got to bury that one. Owen, you got to bury that one. But it's a 1-1 game, and then there was a fantastic shift from your fourth line. John Tortorella brings Morgan Frost into the game, puts him on that line with Travis Konechny and Tyson Forrester to try to get a little bit more offense there. And then you bring Scott Lawton down to the fourth line with Garnett Hathaway and Nick Delorier. And this line has a fantastic shift. Nick Delorier is literally going out there and just burying everybody into the boards, and the offensive zone made a huge hit in the defensive zone that allowed them to go up on the fast break. Nick Delorier battling in the puck in the offensive zone with the defenseman, finds a way to win that battle, throws it towards the net where Hathaway is, and he just puts it backhand right between the 5-hole of Anderson, and it becomes a 2-1 Flyers lead just like that. That shift was electric by the fourth line. They were just going out there and hitting everything. It was so hilarious, but it was so fun at the same time. They can have some really good shifts, man, that fourth line. Torts did, criticize them for not chipping into the offense here and there, but, when he calls them out, Scotty Lawton goes on that fourth line and they suddenly create some magic. And Nick Delorier was the god of that entire shift, just going out there and punishing everyone that he saw on the ice. It was just absolutely fantastic. And you got to give a lot of credit to Nick Delorier, man. We all judged that contract that Chuck Fletcher gave him a couple of years ago, and he's been really good. He's been, more than what he has, what his role needs to be. They love him in the locker room. He steps up for a lot of the guys, and he's going to make people respond when they go after his teammates. So he's a very guy that they just love in that room. Torts, the young guys, the players. Nick Delorier, man, definitely a very special dude for a fourth line grinder. Just goes out there, gives it 150,000% every single night. And when he needs to try to get the momentum back in your team's favor, try to spark something, he'll rough it up a little bit, go after, some of the team's best guys, start a fight, whether he's got to do. And sometimes, he will chip in offensively. He has some pretty nice moments, too. It's very fun to watch. But you go up 2-1, and you end up, after that first period of, getting outplayed for, I believe, 75% of it, you find yourself with a 2-1 lead. And, that's hockey for you. That is definitely hockey for you. After that Owen Tippett goal, you got a little bit of momentum on your side, and you find yourself with a 2-1 lead. That's always very nice to see at the end of the day. Carolina does end up tying it up in that second period, halfway through bunting. Just, a couple of turnovers here and there, and it ends up in the back of your net. Carolina originally did tie it early on in the period, but they were challenged for offside, and the goal did get overturned. But they eventually tied it regardless, just because they're just putting so much pressure in the offensive zone. Some icings here and there, and they win a face-off, get it right back to the point. They blasted home past Carter Hart, had no chance at it, and it's a 2-2 game there. Game remains tied after 2 periods, and then you get to this back-and-forth third period where it's just chances galore left and right. Everyone's getting chances, and it's just, Tippett, Atkinson, Konechny, Lawton on a breakaway, all these chances, and some people just can't find a way to bury it. And then, sadly, just on an icing, the brink, the Cates, the Farabee line, they get the ice the puck. Cates has a chance to clear the puck out of the defensive zone. He can't do it. Just a lazy clear attempt, and it just ends up in the back of your net because you get hogged into your own zone in the final few minutes of the game, and that's exactly what happens there. It's kind of reminiscent of what happened in Vegas, where you had that 2-1 lead into the third period, and you just couldn't get out of your zone the entire time. Vegas just, hemmed you in there. They end up tying it, and they end up getting the lead late to win that game. So it's kind of very similar, very eerie to that game, where you just weren't able to get the puck out of your zone. But I do think there's a lot of positives to take out of this game, because regardless of how much Carolina outplayed you, and of course, when we're going into this season, wins and losses don't matter just because you're in this rebuilding stage. The process is the one thing that you have to look for. The game-by-game basis, the effort that the team is giving, the compete level that they bring. It doesn't matter at the win and losses right now. How this team is buying into the system, how these young guys are going to develop, and how they're going to get their compete level every single night. How are they going to give it the torts? How are they going to bring out that system and make themselves a very much pain-in-the-ass team to play against, night in and night out? And I think, when they go up against a lot of these good teams, I would say really only they've had 2 bad games so far this year. That one game, Saturday after, well, actually, both of those fall on a Saturday 1 o'clock game. So maybe the Saturday 1 o'clock games are just cursed for this team. But they got that game in the beginning of the year in Ottawa, Saturday 1 o'clock, where they just really didn't show up at all. Even though it was a pretty close game, Ottawa just forechecked them to hell and they couldn't handle it. And then that Saturday game at home against the Anaheim Ducks, where it was just, bad puck luck. Erston didn't play his best game, and it was just a very ugly situation. But when you're going up against a lot of these good teams, teams like Dallas, teams like Vegas, teams like Carolina, teams like the Minnesota Wild, where you beat them 6-2, you're putting up some good contests, man. You're putting up some good fights, some good effort, and no matter how much another team finds a way to outplay you, you find a way to stay involved in the game, and that is the most important thing that I love about this system that Torts brings. A lot of people in the Flyers, community that has been begging for the rebuild, they just want to tank. They just want to tank. They want to be, the first overall pick teams. They want to lose, so many games on the season. They only want to win like 10, 12, 14, 15 games on the year. That's not what this team's going to be. They're not that bad of a level to be that bad of a team. They're not on the level of the San Jose Sharks. They're not on the level of Chicago Blackhawks bad, even though they have Connor Bedard. They're not on that level of team to where they're going to lose that many games and they're going to be in the basement. They're still probably going to have a lottery pick, like in that 5 to 7 range, but they're still a better team than, some of the basement dwellers. And that's one of the things there. But I do think the way they're going about it is going to town, going to the games and competing, giving your 100%, buying into the system. I think that's a more important thing because you're trying to develop a lot of these young players that are getting their chances. You're trying to get, Owen Tippett to give a little more. You're trying to get, Noah Cates. You're trying to get, Cam York and all this stuff. A lot of the young guys that are in the lineup to, learn under the system, learn what it's like to, find a way to involve yourself in games night in and night out, not going out there and expecting to get blown out 7-2 every single night. That's not how you develop your young players. That just isn't the way it's going to go. And you have a nice mix of vets in here, but you have a lot of young guys too. And, Sean Couturier helps that out a lot. Cam Atkinson and his savvy veteranness, TK in the way that he just brings himself to the office. Same thing with Scott Lawton every night, how they just, handle themselves, bring themselves to the game every single night. It'll help these young players out a lot. And especially some of the young players that come up into the system that, you still got a lot of great talent that's in the pipeline with Cutter Gauthier in the #1 ranked Boston College as well. So that's very fun to see. So Cutter Gauthier most likely going to be battling it out for an NCAA championship in men's hockey this year. So that'll be very fun to see before he eventually, signs his ELC contract. And then whenever, Matvey Michkov is going to come over from Russia, I still think he's going to be over here earlier than not. And that's, 2 big powerhouses in your development system that are top respected prospects in this league and are expected a lot of those too. So you got some nice guys in this prospect system. They're doing the right thing right now. I could take a lot of positives from these losses. When you're going up against good teams, you're finding yourself being involved every single game. That's the most important thing in my honest opinion. The wins and the losses don't matter. If you lose, okay, that's closer to a lottery spot than to maybe what you need to be. A win, okay, it's a good win. It's a good morale boost for a lot of your young guys. Regardless, you're going out there and competing every single night. I think that's the most important thing. Just not going out there expecting to get blown out. You're going out there expecting to get 110% every single night. And I think that's going to do so well for a lot of the young guys in this lineup. Forrester, Frost, even know how much longer he's going to be here. Noah Cates, Bobby Brink, Cam York, Zamula, who's looked, pretty solid. Some of the other guys that are in the pipeline. A lot of things there. Danny Briere, Keith Jones, they got a plan, man. They got a plan. And they're going to stick to that plan. And it's, playing the game the right way and developing these guys the right way. And that's the most important thing. It's a good game today. You went up against one of the top teams in the NHL, and you took them down to the brink. I'd take a lot of positives from that than more negatives. And I think that's what a lot of people need to realize here. That's what a lot of people need to realize, in my honest opinion. So, looking at the upcoming games for this Flyers squad, they got a game on Wednesday against the Buffalo Sabres at home. That's a 7 o'clock game. Then they got a Friday game in Buffalo, so a little bit of a home-and-home action there. Then they play Saturday at home at 7:30 against the Kings. And then next week they go out on their West Coast road trip in California, San Jose, Anaheim, and LA. So a couple of 10:30, 10 o'clock games there. So that's definitely going to suck in terms of recapping. So I'm assuming that is, the 10th, the 11th, and the 15th. I'm assuming that's the case. So that's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday. So they play Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Sunday, and then they finish off against the Hurricanes, it looks like. Unless I'm reading that completely wrong. I am probably reading that completely wrong, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Let me check. I'm probably reading that completely wrong. I definitely am reading that completely wrong. So it is Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, and then Wednesday. So they got a lot of days off in between on this road trip. They got 2 days off basically in between every game, and then maybe a 3-day off in between there. So there's a lot of days off in between these games. So there's a lot of things to go on there. So looking at the upcoming schedule, tomorrow there's basically nothing besides the NFL trade deadline. So maybe we'll do something just in the case that Howie Roseman does make another, big move for the Eagles squad. So we'll definitely have an update there. Wednesday, we'll have ourselves a Flyers recap. Thursday is the next Sixers home game, so maybe we'll have some Sixers talk on Thursday because, the past couple of games have definitely been pretty entertaining with the two-way game between Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. So we'll definitely maybe have some discussion points there. And then we go back to, Football Friday and stuff like that. Flyers recap as well, leading into, Sunday, Eagles, Dallas Cowboys. So that'll be nice to see. So, yeah, exciting stuff this week. So, let's see what happens here, boys. Oh, yeah, Bryce Harper was at the game as well, sitting with the fans and all that stuff. It was nice to see. Definitely nice to see that. But, yeah, that's going to do it for tonight, everybody. So thank you for tuning into this, stream if you tuned into it live or you're going to watch it, in the morning, overnight, or anything like that. So definitely do not forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to drop a like and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It does me a great deal of service. Also use the code TTPSPORTS, $20 off your first purchase. That's SEATGEEK. Great deal. Don't pass it up. Thank you guys for joining tonight. I'll see you next time.